Hey, you guys, welcome back. I am excited to be back. We just got back from Florida, and I know some of you guys were there in Tampa with us. It's so much fun. I had an amazing time with you Floridians out there. Actually, we had a lot of people coming in from other places, Massachusetts, from Georgia, and some other states around. So it was super exciting, super fun. We had a lot of people who really said they had some major breakthroughs and that they now they know what to do to move on, to do their business, and to get started. So that was super fun for me. And we had a party the last evening. We had a great time. It was absolutely wonderful. So thank you guys, those of you who joined me there, and keep updated on the Florida site the Florida site is called Teresa Harding is coming to Tampa. So check that out because we have some things that we have special gifts for you guys there who actually attended. Will be those of you who we have your emails because you signed up for the event. So we have some things we'll be sending you. So be watching for that. Anyway, wonderful, wonderful time. And especially, I'll just tell you guys, the thing that matters to me the most when I go do these trainings is if people leave feeling like, oh my goodness, now I know what to do. I'm getting past a hurdle. This is something I've been working on and couldn't figure out how to get past it. Now I know what to do. And one of the things that we heard a lot, which kind of was really special for me, I guess, is a lot of people said, I learned stuff about the business, but I really had some epiphanies that I think are going to change my personal life. Things that I learned that are going to change the way I look at things, the way I do things, that are going to be major in helping me get past limiting beliefs. And what's interesting is at that event, I ended up probably spending about an hour talking about some psychological stuff, some things that might help us as we're working on limiting beliefs. And I don't usually do that. Like we talk about limiting beliefs and we talk about some of that, but I know people want to learn about the business. And so I end up making sure we cover that, but then I go straight into the training. Sorry, I'm with a table that is not super sturdy, so I'll try to quit bumping it so that you quit seeing this. But I was surprised at the response when I spent more time on that. We still did a ton of hardcore business stuff, and so I'm rethinking. As I saw that and I saw the responses, I thought, wow, this is powerful. This is something that I can include in the trainings. And I think this is a piece that maybe we neglect a little bit. We need to add more of. Certainly make sure people know how to build the business. We need to know about the oils. We need to have classes on how to use the oils. And so, but anyway, so that was really fun. It was really fun to hear the responses. But that's what means the most to me, is when it makes a difference for you guys, when it's something that changes what you're doing, how you're doing it, or helps you feel more empowered, because now you know what to do. So really excited about that. Had a great time with you guys. I have a couple of, I want to start off with one thing, because we're not always talking about the oils. We're often talking, or the products, we're often talking about business and very specific answers to business questions. But we had a comment or a question and had an amazing response by someone. So I'm super excited about that, and I think it was really good, really helpful for you to put that in this group and help answer some of those questions. But I also have some things I think I can add. So I'm going to read you the question, and let's see if I took a picture of it, but there it is. Lisa. This is from Lisa. She said, this is from a potential customer. How would you answer this? This is the question from the potential customer. I read through the Microplex frequently asked questions and ingredients. I cannot digest any form of wheat or any process of wheat. This product is not applicable to my allergen needs. Bummer. See below from the site an attached product PDF. So obviously this person has done their research, which I thought was really awesome. So she got this off of, it sounds like the dōTERRA site. It says, question, why does the label now list the, quote, contains wheat statement? Because it didn't used to say that. Because after they've used the wheat in basically the process of creating the product, the wheat is all gone by the time it's completed. But now dōTERRA says, dōTERRA asks us the question, why does the label now list the, quote, contains wheat statement? And the answer is from dōTERRA. The FDA recently announced a new requirement relating to the labeling of allergens used in a fermentation process to make enzymes for supplements. Wheat was used in the fermentation process to make some of the enzymes in Microplex VMZ. The revision to the label is required even though the wheat was consumed in the fermentation process and no gluten was detected in our testing. So I love their answer because that allows people to make their own decision. They're letting you know that in the fermentation process, wheat is used, but the wheat is consumed so that by the time the product is done, the wheat is not there. But there may be some people who are so sensitive to wheat or any of the byproducts of that wheat that it's helpful for them to know that. So now what I have found is that and I'm just throwing out a number because I don't totally know, obviously I haven't tracked the exact numbers, but in my experience, which is pretty vast as far as how many people I work with, I would say that over 99% of people who cannot eat wheat or any wheat products are okay with the products that are like this. But that being said, realize that there are people who may have a higher sensitivity and it may bother them. Now, so do what is comfortable. The way that so your question, Lisa, how would you answer that question? This is what I would say to this person. I would say, absolutely, the most important thing is that we are careful of your health and what you need for you. So, and I would tell them some people can use this product who can't do wheat, but some people might be so sensitive. There's a small percentage of people who are sensitive enough that they wouldn't be able to. So it's a decision that you need to make. And then I would share a couple of examples. And I always tell people, and it's always good to err on the side of caution. If it's something that after I share the couple of stories with them of situations we've had with people so that they can see the two sides sort of. And notice I'm not going to share a story that just shares one side of the issue. I'm going to share two separate stories that share with someone who thought they couldn't use it and then in the process ended up discovering that it was okay for them. And then I'm going to share a story with them and a brief. I keep them brief, but then I share a quick little story with them of someone who thought they couldn't use it. We tried the same thing and then that didn't work for them. So I say, we can definitely try that. It's up to you. And we're very conservative. We just, try a little at a time. So you can decide what you feel is best for you. And my job is to be totally supportive of what you need to do for your health. So that's the absolute answer. But I'll give you an example of a couple of stories I would tell. And so, for example, and these are things that I see when I work with people. For example, we had one person who could not do the wheat. In fact, I noticed somebody in the comments in this little group said something about how they can't use Terrazyme for the same reason and they get headaches. Now, I'm not saying that for you, whoever made that quote, and I'm sorry, I didn't take a picture of it, so I can't see the name on it right now. Let me see. Yeah, I can't see the name on it. So I apologize for that because I totally always like to give you guys shout outs, especially since you're commenting and helping each other. But so I'm not saying that you would be able to use it and it would be fine, but I'm going to throw this out. In fact, this is a good example. I'll throw it out for you, both of these stories, and then you can decide what you want to do. I have had people in that situation where they use the product and they have some response to a sensitivity where it exhibits itself. It might be a stomach ache. It might be tension in the head. It might be that they get irritation on the outside of their skin. Let me help you understand. When your body, and I'm not saying this is why it happens, but often this is a possible option to look at. What happens is when your body is taking things in, and especially the essential oils, then the essential oils help the cells to release toxins. And so what happens when your cells release toxins, it's got to go through that whole digestive process. It's got to go through the liver. The liver has to clean it out. And then guess what happens? It's got to flush itself out. Now, what if you have a toxin release that is so extreme that your body is having a hard time handling it all at the same time? So number one, I tell people when they are using the essential oils, it's not just about the essential oils. I tell them you have got to be drinking a ton of water, because if you're not drinking enough water, as those toxins are being released from the cells, then what's going to happen is it's not going to have a way to flush it out. So now realize, I get that the whole wheat thing is not necessarily the toxins, but part of the problem with people having their bodies having an issue with gluten is what their bodies consider to be a toxin release from the use of that product. Okay, now that's a different type of thing than the fact that the essential oils help toxins. The essential oils help your cells release the toxins that everybody's cells need to release. Now, when somebody is sensitive to gluten, then, or wheat or whatever pieces of that process, then what? Because some people it's gluten, some people it's a different parts of it. It's usually gluten. But what happens is now we've still got the body trying to expel things that are bothering it. You've got to make sure you're drinking enough water. Second of all, this is what I have found. In my experience, it is looking like, and with the research that is being done for allergies, those kinds of allergies, that what it's looking like, and there are indicators, but it's not been proven. These are just things I'm noticing as I work with people, things I get to talk to some of the top scientists about, things I get to talk to doctors about, that a lot of times an allergy can maybe come from a domino effect. So one thing happens to the body that you don't even realize there's a problem because your body feels fine. And that leads to the second domino, and you still don't notice anything. And little by little, all these dominoes start to fall because something's going on in your body. And then it gets to a point where you have a reaction, which is an allergy. So what we start doing is we start creating health for the body, supporting the health of the body with the different products that they are able to consume. And little by little, what we find is those dominoes start to disappear. Not always, but in most cases. So I am absolutely not a doctor. I'm not saying that you should or shouldn't do any specific thing. I'm just giving you an idea of something that you can do. This is something I do with every single person that I work with. When they're having some sort of a response to something that is negative, that they don't want, then what we do is we draw way back. We give them just very little. So for example, I'll use the oils as an example first, and then I'll tell you I'll give you an example with Terrazyme, for example, or the Lifelong Vitality. So with the essential, and here I'm telling you the short story of the person, but with commentary in between. So usually I just share, I've worked with people who they try the product, and instead of taking the number of pills that are on the label, we might tear a pill open and pour half of it into their fruit drink in the morning. And then we kind of see what the response is and see how that goes. And we make sure that they're getting plenty of water so everything can get flushed out. Because a lot of times what we have found is that when they get enough water and we just start small, it allows the body to take care of the things it needs to do, flush the stuff out that has been bothering them, and start to clear up a little bit of that domino effect. And a lot of times what happens, over 99% of the time, we find that they're then able to use that product and they get to see amazing support from it. So that's the kind of story I would tell there. But then I would also share a story about, now I had one woman who has been dealing with these, some serious things for quite some time. And so, she was having the same response to this product, and we tried, little at a time, and we weren't seeing a good enough response fast enough. So we decided just to eliminate that product and use these other products that she was able to use, and she could get the benefit from those. And then little by little, we'll see how it goes from there. But at this point, she's not taking that product. So you see how those two stories help them feel like, we have this, but whatever is best for you. Because what I don't want is to share the story about how, oh yeah, we did it with this one person. We started small, little by little they could do it, and then they could finally use it. See, so if you would do that, you would be able to use it. That's the message we don't want, because we don't know what's going on with their body. We don't know what the issue is. So, for example, when I have somebody with essential oils that has some sort of a response that's not great, maybe they get a stomach ache, they get head tension, they get irritation or redness on the outside of the skin, realize that when you have something exhibiting itself on the outside of your skin, or usually a headache or a stomach ache, guess what happens? That is almost always coming because your body can't handle what's going on. It can't handle it, and so it's going to respond somehow. And often it's because it is, and I'm not saying this is always the case, but almost always this has been the case as I've been able to work with Dr. Hill, with the person I'm working with, those kinds of things, because I err on the side of caution. I err on the side of conservative. So, but what we have found is that they end up being able to use the product often, not always. So with the essential oils, if I have somebody who starts to have some sort of a response or a reaction, I tell them, okay, so this is what we want to do. We still want that toxin release to happen, but it shouldn't be miserable. It does not need to be miserable. So let's go down. They might have tried like 3 or 4 different essential oils, and they're doing a couple drops 2 to 3 times a day, not even that much. But I tell them, okay, we're going to go down to 1 drop of 1 oil. So you pick which oil. So maybe they have irritation in their joints. We put 1 drop of 1 oil in the morning or something, and then the rest of the day, nothing. Then the next day we do another one, and I'm making sure they drink tons of water. And then after about 3 days, if everything's going fine, then they can add a 2nd drop. And we continue like that. So I'm very conservative, but what we don't want is, because people have a response that they go, oh, this isn't for me, it's not working, or it's not giving me the support I need, or my body has a problem with it. It could be that. So we want to be very sensitive to that with the person. But at the same time, if it's just that this is finally helping their body do some things to eliminate some of the negative things going on in their body, those kinds of things, then we definitely want to allow that process to happen. Now, I'm going to just speak for just a second to the information that you'll find on the internet that says, oh, people say that when you use essential oils and you have a negative response, your body has a negative response, that's just because you are, like they say, oh no, it's because it's releasing toxins, and that's so not true. Okay, well, you will see that out there everywhere. I want you to understand that based on and I don't know, for those of you who know me, when I hear stuff, I'm like, Kate, is that true? Is that really true? And I'm going to check it out. I'm going to find out. You guys are responsible to empower yourselves. Go check that out for yourselves. Don't just rely on me. I'm going to tell you what I feel and believe and know based on my own research, and getting to talk to some doctors in around the country and around the world. I do have an advantage that way, but still, there are so many resources, you guys, for everyone. So don't just rely on me. And I'm just adding the disclaimer. This is based on what I have learned, but I'm going to tell you what I know based on the information I know. And this is also information from some of the top health groups in this nation, in other countries, and some private health groups as well that are renowned. Okay. So, but it is true that the research shows that the essential oils do help your cells release toxins. So I just want to make sure that that is very clear. I don't care what you see that says that's not true. It absolutely is true. And some essential oils are better at that than others. Now, part of the problem and part of why there's so many naysayers about that is, number one, because it depends on the quality of the oil. Uh-oh. Roger's trying to call me. I forgot to put it on what do you call it? On Do Not Disturb. So what happens is you've got people looking at oils that have been around forever that are not the level of quality that we are used to with doTERRA. There is an absolute difference. If you look into the science that is, and how the oils are being tested, and how doTERRA tests theirs independently with independent labs that are not doTERRA's labs, I am telling you, you will find there is an absolute difference. The quality of doTERRA's oils are unbelievable. And when you read books by Jean Valnet, people who studied essential oils in the past, and basically they often did not have the level of quality of essential oil that we have now. So realize that, for example, Jean Valnet, he is considered one of the fathers of essential oils, and he used essential oils on patients in hospitals because he used a high quality essential oil. Now, Marie, who is one of, what's her last name? I can't remember her last name right now, but Marie, who worked under Jean Valnet and knows that the essential oils are awesome for internal, and they studied that quality of oils. She broke off and started using essential oils for beauty and skincare and those kinds of things. So they didn't need as high of a level of quality of essential oils. So when they're testing the oils, you've got to know what level of quality they're testing, because if they're testing a low quality oil and internally, they're absolutely right. If they're saying don't take essential oils internally, or these essential oils are not going to help your body to release toxins, because guess what? They're full of synthetic chemicals or synthetic man-made replicas of the compounds that were originally found in that oil. So you've got to understand, people read all these different things, but they're not looking at it within the context that it actually belongs. So just be careful when people are saying, when you're listening to people like, for example, Dr. Hill or some of the top doctors or scientists around essential oils. If they are teaching us something and then you hear other people say, hey, my hair will not stay out of my face. If they are teaching you something and then you hear, you see online or a blog or all these comments about, no, that's not true. Well, what are their credentials? What do they know? I mean, are these credible people that you can believe? It's kind of like the joke that we make about how, people make fun of network marketing. When you start your network marketing business, what happens? People come out of the woodwork saying, that that's a scam, right? That that's ridiculous. Well, who's telling you this? The person who, is it your brother-in-law who has no business sense and is not someone you would take business advice about over, any time? Or is it someone who is financially successful, completely understands business, and is giving you this advice? Be careful who you take advice from and who you believe. Don't just believe whatever's out there. You guys, we all know any of us can just get online and start a podcast now. And we can title our podcast, medicine and the benefits. I could start that right now. That doesn't make me an expert. The more people know, the more they experience, the more they have studied, if they have credentials. These are all things that you need to think about. But just realize that it absolutely is a good idea to be cautious, be sensitive and compassionate with the people that you're working with, because it matters. And you know what? I've worked with people who they use the oils and they'll say negative things when I'm working with them. And the more I work with them, the more I realize, okay, they say negative stuff about every single thing and every single person, and it doesn't matter what we're talking about. And so I'm realizing it's not necessarily that they're having a bad experience. They just like to talk bad about everything. We all know those people. You guys, sometimes we're in moments in our life where we are that people. Okay. So but I don't care. Even if I really think that, guess what am I here for? I'm here to help them figure out what it is that they need to help them get to the next step. And if their next step is just not being negative about everything and feeling like finally they have a support system, maybe that's it. Maybe it's not my job to help them get to the point where they feel like, oh yes, I can use the oils or I can use this product. But I do want you to be aware that a lot of times when we start small and let them use a little more and a little more, they often get to the point where they can absolutely use the product, and they start seeing other health challenges that they've been dealing with, some minor, some less than, some bigger than minor, and they start to, let me be compliant. They start to see amazing support. So just keep that in mind. And today I don't have as much, I was going to say I don't have as much time. I have to go. I'm going to answer one last question, because this was a question that Maria had. She said, when enrolling spas, are you enrolling the gatekeeper or the company? How does that work? I've never enrolled a company before. So what would you do as far as what email to use for them? Phone number, name, and then social security number. It's a really good question. So honestly, you're enrolling whoever wants to enroll. So you may talk to the gatekeeper. If you've seen my spa videos, you talk to the gatekeeper, get through the gatekeeper to the person you need to talk to. But the gatekeeper might have become friends with you now and they're excited about the oils. You gave them some samples too. When I'm giving samples to the person in charge of making the decision, sometimes just because the gatekeeper is the one who has to do some of the work, I give them some free samples just for fun. And they love it. They try it. And then they want to enroll. So sometimes the gatekeeper enrolls as well as the company, and then either they can be separate, or because who approached the gatekeeper? Me. The gatekeeper did not enroll because we signed up the business, the spa, and then they brought clients to me who enrolled. If the clients come and are enrolled that way, then guess what? They absolutely go under the spa, unless the spa doesn't want to be involved in any of that. Now the gatekeeper, see, sometimes the spa doesn't want to be involved in any of that, and they absolutely just won't be a part of it. That's fine. Then if I enroll the gatekeeper also, I can put the gatekeeper wherever I want. And I can put the gatekeeper and then put the spa underneath. I can set it up however. But I would recommend that you think very carefully about putting them together, because here's the gatekeeper. If you've got the gatekeeper, I would normally, if I can't put the gatekeeper under the spa, I would absolutely put the spa under the gatekeeper. So depending on the situation and what is the most integrous, I will totally do that. Now, can you imagine? You should do that just because it's what's right. But think about this. Because if you're going to get past the gatekeeper is ending up going to be helping with this process. So for her to help you and you just put it somewhere else, that's why I put them together. I don't have to. But then think about what happens. What I find is that the gatekeeper is now all on board, all excited about the success of the spa, cares about the clients hearing about the products in the spa, and now all of a sudden I've got a way better response, and I've got an ally infiltrated in the spa. I shouldn't use those words. Can you tell I was recently watching a spy movie? Okay, so now you're asking about, the other option you can do, if the spa does want to sign people up underneath them and they're okay with that, sometimes we'll take the employees of the spa, will come in, do training for the entire staff, and the people who are interested in doing the business will kind of see what response we get. And the people who are interested in doing the business, guess what? We put those as their top 3 legs. No promises about who gets to go under them. We tell them straight off, because guess why we do this? We've learned from experience. If we act like, you guys, everybody who comes in from the spa goes under you. No, they don't. Because what about when those 3 legs are big enough, and now for the spa's benefit, we need to, start another leg. Well, guess what? Now everybody from the clientele is not coming under these 3 legs. And if you've told them that at the beginning, they start feeling like it belongs to them, and then they get all put out, that people aren't being put under them anymore. They're lucky if anybody gets put under them. So what we tell them is, I kind of play it way down, and I don't act like, this probably won't work for the spa. I act like this. I say, we are looking, you're serious, you're interested in building a business. This is what we're doing with the spa. We need some people who will take care of their 3 legs. And so of course we always need to do whatever is most beneficial for the spa. But if we give you that position, then as clients come in, it may be in the best interest of the spa to put, a client underneath you. Notice how I'm acting like it's one person. That's because I don't want them to get the feeling I'm going to get a whole bunch. I absolutely act like that. And I say, so if you're interested in that position, we'll totally help you like we would help anyone else. But you could have that extra advantage, and we'll help walk through the process. And then at the end of telling them that, I say again for a second time, because we've had problems with this. But when we do it this way, we don't have a problem anymore. I tell them the second time at the end of that conversation. But realize that whatever is best for the spa, that's what we do. My job is to make sure we build out the spa. When I'm working with you individually, my job is to help you build your team. Now, if those 2 plays go together, great. Then that's an awesome benefit for you, and the chances of that happening are good. But I just want to make it clear that when clients come in who are enrolling, I've got to put them wherever's best for the spa. That may be under you, that may be under someone else, and that is absolutely my role for them. That way, from the beginning, and guess what they act like? They act like, oh, of course, yeah, that's awesome. Now they know coming in that that's exactly what's going to happen, and it ends up working out amazing, and they're just fine. So the way you sign up the spa, though, is they like to use the name of the spa and then use the EIN, which is their tax ID. So it's called, what does EIN stand for? Identification number. E stands for something. It's not employee. The IN is the identification number, and it's basically just their tax ID. So it's some letters and some numbers, and when they signed up for their business and set it up as an LLC or whatever it is, or a corporation or something, they received an ID number. That is something that can be used in place of the Social Security number. So the spa owner could sign up individually, like they could sign up for themselves if they want. So there are a lot of different options. But thank you guys for joining me. I've got to go. Let me see. I'm just going to see if I have any little great info about our multivitamins. Oh, good. Thanks, Jackie. Great information. Thank you, Lisa. I agree, we find a lot of misinformation in the web with no reliable resources. I like sticking to dōTERRA scientific evidence because they are ethical and don't have anything to hide. That's absolutely true. And honestly, I love what you said, Jackie, and it doesn't hurt for us to be the kind of the check and balance for dōTERRA as well. Like, I totally trust them. I absolutely know. But I have my resources to double check information. Well, and I'm always kind of sassy about it because I feel like, hey, prove it. Prove it. I have a lot of people counting on me and counting on the information I give them that luckily I know they have so much integrity. So the stuff that's required that they tell you guys or tell us as dōTERRA, I can tell you right now what they are doing is better than what they are required to do, what they're telling us. So just know that that's absolutely true. But it's always good to double check. I don't care how honest you think your kid is. It's always good to just kind of have a check system. And if we're all, and guess what? That's what we are. We're all checking on things, and it's a beautiful thing. That's why the government in the United States has checks and balances, so that if somebody ever tries to like outweigh the balance, then we can kind of fix it. And those checks are in place. All right, you guys are awesome. Sandra says I need to listen to this again. Good. All right, thanks you guys. You guys have a great day. And if you want to, come join us on the Marketing Game Changers with Teresa Harding Facebook group. All right, see you guys later. Bye.